drinking big in the Big Easy on the next edition of the Drinkable Week. Hi, I'm Jeff Cialetti, author of The Year of Drinking Adventurously, and welcome to this edition of the Drinkable Week. I'm in New Orleans for Tales of the Cocktail, which is the biggest cocktail event in the country. There was no shortage of tasting rooms here, and they were all pretty amazing. I wish I was able to get to all of them. One of the really great ones was Indie Spirits Keep Rockin', which was an extension of the Indie Spirits Expo, which they do in New York and Chicago and Vegas. And this was just a slightly smaller version of that, but incredibly well attended. And there was even shochu there, and you know how much I love shochu, and a shout out to my friends at Mizu Shochu. They were pouring, and speaking of shochu, there were a couple of rooms too where they had shochu showcases. Wow, I can't believe I said that without screwing up. Shochu showcases. And they were pouring, you know, pretty much all the major styles of shochu, and in one of the rooms there was even some cocktail activity happening, mixing with shochu, and I think that's really going to be the real entry point for a lot of people in this country with shochu, is they're going to discover it through cocktails, and then they're going to sort of branch out and explore the spirit itself. I like to drink it on the rocks. That's still my favorite way. Another shout out to High Spire Whiskey. They do an amazing 100% rye, and I really enjoyed tasting that. It's so great, you gotta try it. I also got to spend some time getting to know Singani 63, which is a brand of the Bolivian spirit, Singani. It's a grape-based spirit like a brandy, but it's produced at ultra-high elevations. It's only made from one grape varietal, the Muscat de Alexandria grape, and it survives at these massive altitudes, and it just creates a very unique flavor profile, and it's very distinguishable from Peruvian Pisco. And Singani 63 is the brand that belongs to Steven Soderbergh, who, you know, the filmmaker Traffic and the Ocean's 11 movies, and Bubble and The Girlfriend Experience, The Nick, you know, all that. And he was there, and I got to sit down with him for a little while and have a couple of drinks with him. The stuff is really great on the rocks, and Soderbergh's great because he's really passionate about this. He's pouring so much of his own time and effort into it. He's not like a lot of other celebrity brands where they're just like a pitch man. I mean, this is his brand. He's got so much invested in it, not just financially, but time and effort, and he's really pushing to establish this as its own category in the United States, because right now it still gets categorized along with brandy, even though it's a very unique spirit. And he thinks in probably, you know, a year and a half they should hopefully have a category designation of its own. Now, whiskey and beer tastings are starting to become a bona fide thing these days, and now I'm not just talking, you know, the old school Boilermaker at the dive bar with cheap beer and a shot of rut gut whiskey. I mean, this is much more upscale now. You're getting you know, single malt scotch is being paired with craft beer, which is exactly what happened at a seminar I went to, sponsored by Highland Park Single Malt Scotch. They paired some local beers, a lot of stuff from Abita and people like that, paired with many expressions of their whiskeys. And the great part about it was brand ambassador Steph Ridgway. She really guided us through how to taste it properly, where, you know, you take a sip of the whiskey and then you chew on it for a little while, and then you take a sip of the beer and then you go back to the whiskey, and it's just this amazing symphony of flavors that I had never truly experienced before, and I'm so grateful for having that experience. And as always, I invite you to continue the conversation on Twitter at Jeff Cialetti and Drinkable Globe, and on Instagram at Drinking Adventurously, and buy my book, The Year of Drinking Adventurously, at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, IndieBound, and at fine independent bookstores across the country. And wherever the road may take you, remember to grab the world by the glass.